Hi there, I'm Yashika Graham, welcoming you to another episode of Up Close and Personal here on KOOL97 TV. Today, we are jumping into a conversation with Robert Blake and Peter Phillips. Gentlemen, welcome to Up Close and Personal.
Pleasure to
be here, ma'am.
Wonderful. So, I have to, learn how the KOOL relationship began. So tell me, how did you get into KOOL? Let's start with you, Peter. I
got into KOOL. I was invited by Rosamond Brown to KOOL. We used to do a show on another station called 70s 80s Club. And that's how we got invited to KOOL97.
Okay. And Robert?
Same thing. We and Peter sort of inseparable. So we went to that station, did 70s 80s. When KOOL started, we were invited here. And we actually did one of the first programs on KOOL a Sunday afternoon.
Okay. So you told me, Robert, that you guys have known each other since you were children. So tell me about that. How did you become friends? And I understand, you got into music too around that time. Tell me about that early relationship and how you have built on that.
Well, our mothers are friends and are friends to this day. Both of them are in the 90s.
Wow.
94.
Yeah, my mom is 93 and they are still in contact. So we just grew, our friendship just grew from there, and it continued.
We go to the library every Saturday.
Yes.
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 And how about the music? Because I know you got into music really early. Was that something that was mutual between the two of you?
Not at that time. I got into music from my brother. We had a disco before me, and my neighbors. So that's how I got really introduced into the music. Yes, so that's how it started for me, and eventually everybody used to run up and down on the summer holidays, and one of our mothers decided to give us a clubhouse, which is our back room in Mona Heights. So we used to be there and we started playing music and buying records and stuff, and then it grew from that. From there it was called in-crowd disco. And of course, after a while everybody started, deciding what they're going to do in their life. Some went to university, some went to work. I went into music.
Yeah.
I kind of bought out the rest of the guys and started in-crowd disco. And then everybody started to say, Peter playing, instead of in-crowd playing.
Yeah.
And then that's where the Peter Phillips came into being.
Peter Phillips disco.
Peter Phillips playing, and then I must add a disco to it. So
yeah.
It wasn't something I planned to name it Peter Phillips disco. It was done by the people.
Yeah, which is, it seems only right,
yeah,
the people define, so to speak. Yeah.
So
how about you, Robert?
Well,
how did you get started in
music? I used to buy records, but I used to hang out around Peter. So when a couple of years Peter had double playouts, so he'd do one playout, I'd do the other. And that's because he had enough equipment to the two parties, so that's what we end up doing.
Yeah.
So whenever I had double playouts, I would fill in for him.
I love this. I love the fact that you have, been friends for so long and you've been building not just your friendship, but also this love for music for so long. And so when you came to KOOL and you worked on KOOL Rhapsody together, what was that experience like? Sharing that space?
It was no problem, We had no problem. I played a certain section on the show and he played a certain section on the show. It was like no problem at all. We never had a problem yet.
Yeah. But what was the energy like?
Energy was good, Robert tends to like more what we call soul music or R&B. And I love that too, but I also play the soca, the reggae, the rocksteady, the disco.
So he was up-tempo, I was the down-tempo
And
person.
who started the show?
Peter
Phillips. And then move on to Robert.
Well, generally speaking, I always, if you know KOOL shows, I always end with soul music.
Yeah. Ease it down.
Ease it back down.
Right.
Cool.
Okay. So, right now, you continue to play for KOOL Rhapsody and you continue to play for KOOL Climax. What does it take to prepare for a show? Let me start with you, Robert.
Well, I do a lot of research and I'm a collector and my brother is also a collector. So I don't download music. We actually burn from vinyl to electronic. So to prepare for the 3-hour show takes was around 6 hours. Because I try not to repeat unless I want to repeat.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of research and try to come up with songs that were not normally played in the 70s, 80s. So it takes a little while. I just don't jump up and do a show. It takes a little time to put a show together.
Wow. How about you, Peter?
Well, I'll put it this way to you. I will start preparing for a show and just stop because I'm not feeling it. And then another time, a song will just come into my head.
Yes.
And after that song comes in, the whole show just comes together.
I love that. And it leads me to another question of, you know, being DJs and being steeped in music for so long since you were children, you know, I imagine there's just a flood of music just coursing through you. And I'm wondering, is there any single artist or group that you keep going back to, no matter how much music you've consumed all of these years? Both of you, I would like you to answer.
I wouldn't say that, you know, because there are so many artists
And groups.
and groups that are great. You know, it's like somebody say, well, you say, you say, what is the greatest? And somebody say, Asafa Powell and whatever. So everybody is great in their own way and unique in their own way. So it's hard to say keep going back to this artist or going back to that artist. But if you're playing like soul, you might do that, you know, because soul music is just generally from groups or from single artists. So you find that they get very popular, you know. So you kind of like go back to them when you're playing retro.
Right. How about on a personal level, like when Peter Phillips is home and listening to music?
I didn't listen to all genres of music, but surprisingly, I tell you, I don't really listen to soca too.
Oh.
Because I love to jumping up and down. So, but I love the energy of soca.
Yeah. I have more questions for you about soca. Don't worry. So Robert, is there any artist or genre that you keep going back to? And I'm talking more about, you know, personal listening, not necessarily when you're playing out.
Personal listening, 70s, there are a lot of, as Peter said, a lot of good artists who never got the break. And we're actually digging up some of those tunes and they go over quite good with the crowd. A lot of people call and say, where find that from or where was that song all along? So there's a lot of research, and you know, do a lot of research from albums because a lot of albums came out with 1 or 2 good songs, but you find some good tracks on those albums.
Yeah.
So a lot of research. But,
and that's for the personal listening too?
Yeah, personal listening, I just line up songs and play, and sometimes that tune grabs me or grabs my wife and just say, what happened to that tune? And you know, we just use it in the show.
Okay, nice. Yes, Mr. Soca.
Mr. Soca.
Yes. That's your name, Peter.
So tell me.
I was branded that.
Tell me about, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was branded that.
Okay, I did not know this, so that's interesting. Tell me about your love for soca. I've experienced you playing soca in studio, and I did express to you.
Keep steady.
Right, and I just kept moving, right? Tell me about your love for soca and your ability to, you know, move the crowd.
I will just say this to you. I was invited by a friend one day to play soca for a group of people. We used to go to Carnival, and they couldn't find anybody up here who could play the music. So they asked me to do it. So I said, fine, no problem. Only thing I didn't have the music at the time. They said, no problem, they give me. So after doing that party, it was a huge success. And from that party, I just got parties after party after party. And then soca got to the stage where every party was a soca party. And offices and stuff got into it too. Everybody wanted an office party, you know, soca them want, and Kiwanis, Lions Club, Rotary Club. I would have those parties regularly. And like that. And a lot of big functions, even Frenchmen, started out that way too as a soca. But I started them off. And it was basically that.
Yeah. And apart from the
Carnival in Jamaica. I was part of starting Carnival in Jamaica too.
Oh wow.
We and Byron got together and started Jamaica Carnival. But this is after I used to travel to Jamaica, the whole island, doing these carnival parties. So after that, now I just went to Byron and said, you know, you can go to Lucy, you can go to Sablamar, you can go to Hochi. He said, no man, no. I said, yes, it's getting popular there now.
Yeah.
Anyway, after a while, I got people to, you know, think about it, and then I got the band to come down there, and it just exploded.
So apart from the commercial success that I'm hearing, what is it about soca for
The energy.
you?
The energy and the dancing and the movement and stuff. If you notice, even our music now, the dancer is getting that way. Everything is a dance now.
Yeah.
And that soca kind of started that originally. And then remember dancehall soca?
Yes.
That song which is a mixture of soca and dancehall. And even now, you find the soca have a lot of dancehall influence. And we have dancehall artists singing on the soca tracks as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. And as I say, a lot of big parties now, and you have the basis of it uptown is the soca music.
Okay. So where I want to go now is as DJs and as people who have been involved in music for so long, you have faced and played for a variety of people across the board, uptown, downtown, Middletown, everywhere. Whether it's genre or something else, what is that binding energy? Apart from the music itself, just generally, is there something in the music? Is there a genre that you see that everyone is able to relate to?
Let me just tell you this. I would say in the 80s, in Jamaica, I cannot speak, it's hard to speak for that worldwide, you know. In Jamaica, in the 80s, I would say disco was strong. And the late part of the 70s, disco got very strong. Soca came into being in the 80s as well and kind of took over for a while. You know, you're going to get everybody to dance. When we hit the 90s now, back to reggae again. If you want to get everybody on the dance floor, you play a Berry Salmon and everybody's up.
Yeah. What is it now?
I would still say reggae.
Okay.
I would still say reggae.
So Robert, same question for you. What is that binding thing in the dance, regardless of where you have played?
I don't really play out that often, you know. But as most times disco will get people up. And as Peter said, a berry will always get people moving no matter what the age. They'll always get moving no matter what the age.
Okay.
But disco is good and berries is always good.
Yeah.
Half pint.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. So we're gonna move into, we've been talking about music a lot and your work as DJs, but you know, inquiring minds, listeners want to know what else you're involved with. And you know, it has been said that you are a cook, Mr. Phillips. What can you tell us?
A chef.
What can you tell us about your cooking skills? What is your dish of choice?
My dish of choice?
Yes.
Wow. I cook any and everything.
What's your favorite thing to make? Especially for your wife.
For my wife?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's definitely lobster. Question about that, or shrimp. She loves that.
What do you do to the lobster?
I cook it.
Is garlic buttered lobster?
Yeah, of course, you have to use garlic and scallion and pepper and salt and stuff like that.
And what's the feedback you get?
Delicious.
She love it.
She love it. Anytime she's upset with me, I just go.
Lord of mercy.
It's all over.
Draw for the lobster.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Are you into cooking, Mr. Blake?
Don't cook.
Lord.
Can't cook to save my life.
Not even to save your life?
Well, probably to save my life, but
But you are into cars.
yes,
So tell me about that.
I love a fast car. When we were growing up, we had friends who used to modify cars, so I just got hooked on it.
Yeah.
I love a fast,
What's your
powerful car.
favorite car?
It's a Everton.
Do you currently have an Everton?
I had, but I just sold it.
What? So what's your next step
Step.
in cars?
Probably a Type R, under Type R, my next project.
Okay, I love this. I love this. There is so much going on at KOOL, and all our personalities are just bubbling with these stories, and we are just so excited to get engaged. Thank you so much for joining me, Robert Blake and Peter Phillips, here inside Up Close and Personal. I'm Yashika Graham. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. Catch you next time.